Hey, it's Reina Shaunte. Welcome back to my channel. This is day 10 of 40 days to looking younger. And before I forget, you guys go ahead and like this video, share it, subscribe to my channel. Yes, subscribe if you haven't already. And then tap the notification bell so you know whenever I'm coming on, all right? Let's just get that out of the way. Great. Okay, well, today is going to be about fasting. Fasting is a maybe controversial thing for some people because they might think that fasting can be a negative term or negative practice or ritual, but it is actually used for health benefits. So the reason why I'm bringing that up is because I consider myself to have a fasting lifestyle because I tend to fast on a daily basis. Now, I'm not talking about totally no food at all day, every day, but there are seasons where I do take a break, maybe during the day and then eat in the evening, or I might just break in the morning, eat during the day, and then of course break at night when I'm asleep. Now, the definition term for fasting is abstaining from eating. But most recently it is, people have been using modern fasting as a way to just give up certain things that may be taking up your time, your energy, your resources, you know, like social media, like TV, shopping, things like that, right? But as far as I'm concerned with the health, it's all about the body. We're talking about, you know, staying young and youthful and looking good. And, you know, a lot of people deal with weight issues, right? We're trying to keep the weight off. Even I have friends who are my age who aren't even like obese, but then they have like this belly that they're trying to get rid of, or they have this, you know, this back fat that they're trying to get rid of. And even personally for myself, I've never been like a big woman, a heavy woman, a fat woman. But there has been seasons in my life where I felt like, wow, you know, I've been a size 8 for a long time, and I feel like, okay, is that my normal size? Is that my normal weight? But then when I do fasting, I go down a lot, drastically a lot from, you know, wearing a size 8. I go down to a size 2, you know, so it's just trying to find, like, really doing the science of me and my body and what my body needs and what my body just wants and desires or is familiar with, you know, as far as like comfort foods and things like that. So I want to talk about how, you know, I first started fasting. Now, first time I heard about fasting was church. Y'all know I'm a church girl. And so going to church, we would do these Daniel fasts. And usually it'd be like at the beginning of the year, you know, we're resetting our bodies and our minds and our spirit. And so it is like a spiritual practice, right? Because even Jesus Christ himself fasted and prayed in the garden for 40 days and 40 nights, which only Jesus can do that. But there has been many people that have attempted to do these 40 days of no eating. And I don't think our bodies are built for that in this day and age, in modern times. But I will say, even myself have gone a number of days of fasting with no food, just drink and protein, you know, drinks that add to my nutrients, but no food. So I've had times like that where I got super thin because I really just kind of let go of all food. I was just like, I'm just not eating. And it literally changed everything about my body. Even my mouth had gotten used to just not chewing. It was just weird. So you completely can change yourself when you just take time off from eating. But yeah, so we were doing at church the Daniel fast, which it's not just no eating at all. It's no meat, it's no dairy, it's no processed foods, it's no caffeine, it's no alcohol, which at the time when I was first starting to do this, it was like, how can people do this? This is hard. How do people just not eat meat? You know, how do people, you know, not eat fried chicken or, you know, drink coffee every day? How do people do this? But eventually, you know, during the practice of it, I definitely got used to it, got the benefits of it. I think that I spiritually grew. I believe that my body had been reset, had gotten all of the impurities out of my system that were associated to those types of foods that I abstained from, right? And yeah, so I thought that fasting in that way, which it was difficult, it was challenging, but it was a fast of once a year kind of thing, right? It was a once a year kind of fast, and I think we did it, I don't know, I want to say like a month. We did it like the first month of the year, right? Where you just fast from certain types of foods, and then you're back pretty much to eating everything again, which is not so good. Then you gained the weight back. Yeah, but it is something that I think a lot of people who are not used to giving up foods, giving up things, it's a great gateway into a fasted lifestyle, right? Because I think normal people, that may not, go to church or may not believe in fasting, because there's people that go to church and don't believe in fasting, that they're not used to the benefits of giving something, sacrificing something to get the benefit of something else, right? So, when you're fasting things like fatty foods, and you're replacing that with more vegetables, because it's not really saying that, okay, you're getting less food, but you're just getting more of the better stuff, more of the vegetables, more of the fruit, more of the, the other foods that you can eat that are more beneficial to your body, that makes your body function better. But yeah, it's a really good way to start a fasted lifestyle if you're interested in that, the Daniel fast. You can look that up if you want. Again, I want to let you guys know I am not a medical professional. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I'm not a nutritionist, dietitian. I'm just telling you the things that I have done so that you can have this wisdom that I gained throughout my trials in my life. All right. So next thing, okay, so the first fast I ever had apart from like the corporate fast, the church corporate fast, the Daniel fast, I did this fast with a friend who did go to my church, right? She went to my church when we were, really young moms, young wives, and she was very spiritual. Like, she grew up, her dad was a preacher, and, her mom was very much into the church. And she decided that she was going to do this 3-day fast with no food, and it was just like tea and water. And so I said, sure, I'll join you, because I don't know why. I just was like, hey, I want to be more spiritual, because that was the thing. I wasn't really looking for it to be a benefit for my body, but I just was on, a spiritual journey, and I just wanted to grow spiritually. And so I did this 3-day fast with her, and I thought I was going to die. I really did. I thought that surely this is how people die. After that first day, I had no food at all in my body. And I was just like, my body was shaking, and I was having withdrawals. And I don't do anything as far as, and especially at that time. I was super young, super holy. I didn't do any, I didn't smoke, I didn't drink, I didn't, none of that stuff. But to not have food for a day, I was like, oh my gosh, my body was just like crazy. It was going crazy. And so I did it for 3 days, and you would have thought that I had done it for a whole 40 days, because I felt so weak. I felt nauseous. And maybe it was just my body, because I did it cold turkey, right? It wasn't like the Daniel fast where I was just taking out a few things at a time. No, I just stopped eating food for 3 days and just drank tea and water. I don't remember having anything else but that. And of course, spiritually, me and my girlfriend, we would get together, we would pray every day, because we were seeing each other. We had our little babies, together. So we would get together every day, pray together, read the, devotions. And we were trying to just build up our spiritual man, right? So we were denying our flesh and feeding our spiritual man on the inside, which I do believe there is truth to that, honey, because I just felt like, that's when I started to speak in a different language, speaking in tongues. If spiritually, people that come from, a church that believe in speaking in tongues, like that's when that kind of broke out. It was so many changes in my spiritual life because I denied my flesh of food. I was able to grow bounds because of 3 days of just not eating, period. So, of course, after that 3 days, I went back to eating what I ate, and it wasn't that difficult to just kind of get back into the swing of eating. But yeah, man, it was hard. 3 days. You would think 3 days, 3 days. You think of 3 days is like, that's not that long. 3 days, that's not even a whole week. 3 days, but 3 days of no food, cold turkey, it was very, very difficult for me, right? So that was the beginning of me saying, oh, you can fast outside of being with a whole church. and I was just interested in, the benefits spiritually. Now, the first time I heard about somebody fasting that had nothing to do with spirituality was when I was in grad school, and there was this one of the students there. She was a friend who used to be a model, right? So she used to be a model. She was gorgeous, from Iceland or something like that. Gorgeous, blonde hair, blue eyes, and beautiful. She would tell me she would fast once a week, even though she wasn't modeling anymore. She was, going to school and things like that. But she said that, at a time when she was modeling, fasting was her thing. Like, that was her lifestyle, which, a lot of people outside of that world would consider that starving yourself, right? A lot of people would be like, you're starving yourself, they don't say that's fasting, that's starving. You're not eating, you're starving yourself, right? So for her, for my friend, she was like, we would fast, for a period of time, and so that they can stay very, very small, very tiny, and they get, be models. All these beautiful, tall, thin models, a lot of them fast, right? But what she would do is she just did it once a week. She would do it for once a week, and I was just like, wow, that's brave. You got a lot of courage and inner strength to fast a whole day with no food at all once a week. Now before I did it for 3 days straight, and then that was it. I was like, I don't have to ever do that again. But she had a practice of fasting one day. I think Monday was her day that she would go all day without eating. And of course, I said, why not try it, right? I'm always down, y'all. I'm always like, let me try something at least once. So instead of it being something that's connected to spirituality, I was like, okay, I'm not overweight, not obese, but I sure would like to be, a certain physique. I want to look really nice when I look in the mirror. I want to be like, wow, I really like what I see. So for somebody who's coming from, the industry of beauty and modeling and things like that, I was like, well, maybe I can learn something, right? So I partook in that, right? So for maybe a semester or something like that, I would take on just one day a week with no food at all, still with the tea and the water, but one day, again, I would have thought I was dying. I don't know what it is about, just your body just like trips out. It really does. When it's like, it's time to eat. Your body will be like, it's time to eat. What's wrong with you? What are you doing? Right? But you have to tell your body, no, we're not eating. We're drinking tea. Okay. So yeah, it was quite challenging. It was quite challenging. Again, just one day a week, I would not eat. The rest of the week I would eat. I would go back to eating anything, everything. But that one day I wouldn't eat. And I just thought it was like, oh my gosh, how can I do this? This is killing me. I can't even focus, So yeah, I did feel like I was starving that one day I'm starving myself, right? And honestly, I should have wrote down the definition of starving, because I heard that, you're not really starving. You're really, from what I heard, is that after 40 whole days of not eating, that's when your body goes into starvation. So you go for 40 whole days. Now, this is what I hear. You guys can look it up for yourself, do your research. This is what I've heard, that for 40 days, not one, not two, not three, 40 days, you don't have to eat anything before your body goes into starvation. So that's just something I'm just putting out there. Again, I am not a medical professional, so you guys do your research, talk to your doctors, but that's just, what I've experienced, what I've heard, what I've learned. But so this one day that I thought that I was starving and I was dying, I really wasn't. Okay. I have enough stored in my body to live off of for a number of days, obviously, right? That's the first time I did fasting, apart from, a whole church setting, and then apart from, just spiritual means, right? Spiritual results. It was for physical, right? It was for physical. And I think that maybe I did think about, well, if I'm starving all day just to eat everything and anything that I want to eat, then what's the point of just starving all day? I might as well just keep eating. So I think I did kind of change my diet a little bit so that I can reset. So I think that was the purpose. The purpose of that one day a week to not eating is to start to train your taste buds for the things that you should eat, right? So instead of, all the fatty foods, the bread, the carbs, all that, the sugars, I was training my body to say, okay, you starved yourself. Now let's only eat these greens, right? Let's only eat this fruit. Let's only eat lean, fish or chicken, things like that, because that's what will begin to really change your body, is what you do every day, not just the one day, right? So I think I did start to see, some transformation, some benefits when I fasted that one time a week. So, and then more recently, I have been seeing like a new wave, like within the last 5 years or so, of intermittent fasting. Like a lot of people are doing the intermittent fasting, which is you only have a certain amount of hours, like during the day, where you eat, and then you take off from eating for the rest of the day. So for instance, and people do, different times, whatever suits their schedule, but mainly like a good time of eating would be, starting at 11 o'clock, 11, 12 o'clock, right? So instead of waking up early in the morning, let's say 5, 6, 7 o'clock, and then you start eating breakfast, that's a no-no. That's marked out. That's no time to eat. You're just maybe drinking water, tea, even coffee. But then 11 o'clock, you're free to start to eat. So that's when you have your first meal. Then you might have a meal a couple hours later at like 3 o'clock. Then maybe your last meal will be around 6 or 7, right? And then after that, you're done eating. So after 8 o'clock, when you should be getting ready to wind down, after work, and, you're home, and, you're getting ready to go to sleep, you shouldn't be really eating anything right before you go to sleep anyway, but we do it, right? Many of us do it. But that's why it's beneficial to do this type of fasting, the intermittent fasting, is because it cuts you off at that certain time. It does not let you eat something right before you go to sleep and then let that thing just sit on your guts and your stomach throughout the night. So I have been recently doing intermittent fasting. That's what I think that is very beneficial to my life. So when I say a fasted lifestyle, it's not just not eating all day every day. It's I don't eat in the morning and I don't eat late at night, right? And then in between, like I said, to really get the benefit, instead of, just gobbling up anything and everything throughout the day, I am trying to make some health conscious meals so that I can benefit from it. Because what would be the point in not eating all morning, not eating all night, and then eating anything and everything throughout the day? What's the point? I might as well just, go for it. Just do what I want, right? But there has been some extreme types of fasting that I have experienced, and not necessarily no food, but maybe just like 500 calories a day, right? My husband and I have partook in some types of diets, that will do the trick, okay? They will get rid of a ton of weight with a short period of time, but you do have to cut down to about 500 calories a day, but you do get everything in that you need in your body. You get your main proteins, you get your certain fruits, because certain fruits do have a lot more sugar than others, and then you get certain vegetables, so that it will help benefit, the progress of your body digesting and eliminating the weight that it should, right? But then, you cannot sustain that, a grown woman, a grown man, it's not very wise, I don't think, or I don't think it's something that, listen, again, I'm not a doctor, but 500 calories for a grown person is not much calories at all. So it's hard to sustain that. That's all I'm saying. It's just difficult to sustain, only 500 calories. But like I said, intermittent fasting has mainly worked for me, especially, if I'm doing a diet and then I get off the diet, instead of just going back to, however many calories I want, it's okay, I still have to be disciplined in what I eat throughout my day, right? So I don't have to count every single calorie, but I know that, well, in my mind, okay, if I have a salad, that's not gonna be 2,000 calories, right? Or if I have a piece of, grilled chicken, just a piece, I ain't talking about 3, 4, 5 pieces, but just a piece of grilled chicken, then I know that's probably gonna be what, 150, 200 calories, So I can kind of, now that I know what, calorie counting looks like when food is concerned, I don't necessarily have to be like a calorie Nazi, right? But I do have an idea of what it is that works for my body. I do. And the thing is that I know that there are certain types of foods that I do love and I like that do have a whole bunch of calories, right? So I try not to deprive myself, but then I do know me. I know Reina Shaunte that once I start eating something that I do like, it's hard for me to cut that off, right? So so that's the thing, is developing, not only is it just, it's a lifestyle of fasting, but it's a lifestyle of discipline for your body so that I can truly get the results that I want. It's not just the results of just having a happy life, which is great. You can be happy and you can be, you know, fat, out of shape, obese. You could be happy and still be that way. For me, my happiness is me being healthy, fit, looking good, and still having some things that for me taste good, right? So it's all about balance. And I think the intermittent fasting lifestyle works for my lifestyle. Now, you guys can do your own research and see what works for you and your body type and what your goals are for your body. But as far as me, feeling good, looking younger, this is what works for me, okay? So I think that's all I have for you today. I appreciate you all joining me. Again, like, subscribe, tap that notification. I'll see you next time. Bye.